Hi, this is S.L. McFall, and I'm coming to present to you my research paper on the final Tableau project based on does traditional shopping versus online shopping have an impact on the environment. This is being presented in the presence of Professor Dr. Wheeler of Business Course 410, Spring 2023. So before we get started, here is the overview of what will be discussed. The research question, discussing the responsibilities of the companies and the consumers, discuss factors that are contributing to it, traditional shopping versus online shopping, the impact of carbon dioxide and the fossil fuels and what manufacturers are doing, and the remedy, and the conclusion. And I would like to give credit to the song that is playing in the back. It's Tropical Shores by Tim Janis. So in my introduction, my research paper discusses the traditional shopping, which we call brick and mortar, or online, which we call e-commerce. And the impact of all of this is Topic 1, the research question. Have you ever heard of corporate social responsibility practices or corporate environmental responsibilities? Well, while in the United States, there is no mandating for companies to participate in CSR or CER, which one focus more on the social responsibilities of the environment, and the other one focuses on the impact of the environment and the economy. Consumer consumptions is not limited to clothing, beauty products, and technology and transportation. And brick and mortar, which are the traditional shoppers, or online e-commerce, corporations should be aware of the upstream and downstream of gas emission into our environment and climate. It all starts from the operational supply chain. Let's take a look. Here I inserted this chart that will show you the different areas of the supply chain that affects our environment. Here you will see raw materials transported. Transportation is one of the largest issues in emission of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. Why? Because these trucks, cargoes, planes, cars, and other modes of transportations are letting out what we call fuel. And that fuel are being burnt into the air, the atmosphere. At these manufacturer plants, they also are burning fuel, and the smoke or the smog is going into the air. Then it's sent into the packaging system, back out again to transportation, to the supply chain, to the consumption of the consumer. And then the consumer, depending on how they dispose of it, will cause the effect of natural resources, and again, causing some kind of effect to our environment. My question was, does the traditional business practice versus the online practice, which one cause more emission of carbon dioxide into the air? Surprisingly, they both still does, because in traditional businesses, there's pros and cons to the emission. Let's look at traditional business. Although companies have saved on the cost of inventory and operational costs for themselves, consumers that are still going to traditional stores have to take transportation, have to, and if it's a city, it's large amount of transportations that are emitting the carbon dioxide. And the e-commerce also use a lot of delivery services to and from manufacturing plants, distribution areas. So in the United States, There are like 10 states that dominated in 2022 with manufacturing growing. The growth of these manufacturers, which means that the EPA has did a study, the government agency, that collected data and created a report that shows every year there has been an increase of emission. As you can see, the negative concern is how transporting affects the air following the supply chain. Everyday raw material are being sent to businesses or consumers using transportation. Studies have been shown that companies use transportation, airplanes, cargoes, and trucks, and so on. Consumers use a form of transportation, especially in cities with large populations, will cause the emission of carbon dioxide into the air. For each trip, multiply thousands of daily shoppers. According to earth.org, here is a graph they use to show that daily vehicles, millions of vehicles, the emission of carbon dioxide, and the congestion. In 2019, it has rose up. It's predicted to be rose up to 36% by 2030. And the emission of carbon dioxide, it will increase by 2030. E-commerce make it easier for consumers to purchase goods and services and business to lower business expenses overhead. However, delivery vehicles from manufacturers to warehouse cause emissions and carbon dioxide. If there are congestions along the route, this causes the prolong of emission. In 2021, there was an estimated amount of 83% of shoppers in the U.S. that have visited both physical outlets and online stores in the past 12 months. In other words, U.S. consumers were shopping equal amount of offline and online that year. In April of 2021, many consumers in the U.S. returned to physical big box retailers, as about 45% of survey shoppers have been visiting such outlet. These studies have included all generations from baby boomers to Gen X to millennials. In these three graphs provided, you will see the environmental impact, the percentage of consumers in the United States that were shopping in stores and online, as well as what happened during the pandemic that the United States have faced, and how shoppers returned back to traditional and online e-commerce. I will replicate these three charts using Tableau. Hi, welcome back. My name is S.L. McFall for Business Class 410, Spring 2023. In the presence of Professor Dr. A. Wheeler, I will be demonstrating how to use Tableau to replicate a chart that is for my project. Now, this particular chart was published by Coppola. The data that I received up here for this particular chart I got from Statista.com. I will be showing you in Tableau that I can replicate the same chart with the data. This here is using Excel, and I made a pivot chart with the information. I went ahead already to open up the Tableau. This way we can get straight to the point and you can see. I hope this information is helpful when you're ready to open up Tableau software to start your chart. So first I want to show you, so this is here is the end product. How I got here, I open up Tableau. And I'm going to search for this file from Excel. Once I retrieve that chart, the spreadsheet or the data source from Excel, it popped up here, it appeared here, and I pressed check, and then I took the data and I pulled it over here, as they say, drag it over here, and it gave me this information here. I pressed extract, right, and extract gave me this information from the data source. So now I come here to the chart. I pre-set it up so that we can move this swiftly. Let me explain to you what I did. In this pane over here, you have your dimensions and your measures. In your dimensions and your measures, it would give you, if you press show me will give you recommendations of what type of charts that you can use for the data that you have. I chose to use columns. Let's see. Why is it not opening? I chose to use columns so that I can replicate the exact way that Coppola used in his or her chart. Right? And so these are colors, size, labels, and details. As you can see, I took the information from the dimensions and measures and I put them so that it can have the color of the information that I wanted. I asked for labels so that the labels can be and appeared here. I wanted detail about this. So, for example, if I put this back here, which is measure names, you don't really see much, but if I put it back for detail, you will see. One more time. So here's the measure value. That disappeared. But once I put it into labels, it reappear, right? And so up here, I use the measures to put in the rows so that my chart will label this way. Like it can label and demonstrate this way. And then I took the dimensions and put them in the column rows so everything will line up here. So up here is the average commute time, delivery vehicle, and emissions of CO2. Now I just want you to see that you can change the title, right? You can change the title. Let's see. To how you want it. Okay. I'm going to apply and press OK. Next, I want you to see that you can also put in show captions if you want to put information at the bottom and below about your chart. And you can also make a copy of this chart, the image, so that you can put it inside your reports. Lastly, I want to show you over here that you can see the summary of the information that this chart provides you. So what I want you to see is the chart side by side. This is my replica of Coppola chart in Excel, using Excel. I was able to do this in Excel. And this is the one that I use using Tableau. So I replicated this chart twice. I replicated in Excel, and I also replicated in using Tableau. This is a quote by Gregory Bateson. The major problem in the world are the results of the difference between how nature works and the people think. As for our remedy, Jacqueline Smith of J.P. Morgan Chase, the company's vice president, says there are no perfect solutions that exist today, and so everyone is getting comfortable in the imperfect. There are companies that are pledging to help come up with goals to help the environment and the climate. My remedy to the reduction or elimination of many practices will help decrease carbon dioxide emission in the environment will be find reversal methods that will decrease the carbon dioxide emission, recycle, use uneaten food for compost, consider the packages and products used, consider water and the soil and the fuel used to contribute to the emission, laundry and health beauty products, and chemicals that we use. In summary, most of these cases have best solutions is the identifying the issues or factors that has increased the consumer spending, increase consumers' awareness of sustainability, and promote businesses to adapt to CSR or CER so that we can get a hold of decreasing carbon dioxide into our air Our air is part of our life.